well, the neck, the nose, and the lips we're going to finish off. Okay. What I did since last week is add a detail around the eye so I can actually close it to send it to ZBrush or Mudbox. Let's start finishing off the neck. So I'm going to go to the bottom, grab the back ones, go there, there. Left viewport, hold shift, and just start creating it. Scale it, place it. And in the front viewport, shift it over. What we might have to do is I'm going to have to scale it, so I just make sure your symmetry in the middle never breaks. Okay. If you need to make sure your symmetry is always working in the middle, just make sure these lines are always perfectly down. If they're not, like mine is slightly off, just go and drag, select. Just make sure you only drag the middle ones. Hold shift, control to select multiples, and then carry on, and then you scale down. So you grab your scale tool. There's two ways to do it. You can manually scale it down, or you can go to where it says X, Y, and Z and just see which one actually flattens it out. In this case, it was the X. And then just make sure it's flat and it actually connects. Okay, now we've added that row of detail. What we need to do here is also add a row of detail over here that goes down to the front of the clavicle. So we grab that through, move it to the front, place it. I'm going to assume it's right over here somewhere. Don't worry, until I have the body, I'll just loosely put these down because we will be shifting them around. And then start placing them. Move them over, place, slightly shift it over. And now we need to add a row of detail here to connect that one and to connect that one. So what we do is drag select that way and go connect once. Just shift it along until it doesn't have to be 100% accurate really, because you're going to shift them around anyway. I'm just going to slightly get this topology to run nicely. So I'm going to target weld this one to there. There's welding options in target weld. What target weld literally says, you click on the first one and you say, I want you to go to that one. You'll see a little dotted line after you've left clicked the first one, and you say, I want to go there. You say, I want this one to go there, and there we go. Okay, and now we just need to adjust it so the shape follows nicely. Just make sure smooth and looks fine. Okay. What you might want to do is add more detail just in there to get the bottom of the jaw, but for now let's leave it. Let's not spend too much time worrying about it. We need to start finishing this off. So we're going to add one row of detail here, connect once, straight down the middle is fine, and then we need to bring this edge straight to the front, to the middle, scale it, or click X, Y, and Z, and shift it to the middle. Go to the left viewport, move it forward, rotate it, place it. We need to add a lot more detail because this is going to be too flat. And plus we need to somehow connect that into it. Okay, what I like to do is start closing this off. So I'm going to grab this over here, and I don't need, for example, I don't need this detail, this much detail, so I'm going to bring this to the center. Once again, flatten it. This time I'm going to manually flatten it. Go to the front view, make sure it's flat, and it slightly overlaps over the middle. And let's see what the symmetry does. Now we just need to close that off. Okay, so we're going to bridge it. So I'm going to grab that, there, bridge. Go straight to the top where it says bridge. And now I'm starting to limit the amount of detail I need to connect. So now all I need is 1, 2 rows in the bottom here. So I'm going to grab there and there. I'm going to connect twice. And then I'm going to shift it back into place. So I'm going to shift it up. Just start getting it round. I'm going to grab this one. What I want to do is add more detail into here. So what I'm going to do straight off the bat is grab this and go, first of all, let's just connect this and bridge. Just start bridging what we don't want. Add extra detail and say bridge, bridge, and then I want to add in extra detail. So I'm just going to cap this off because I'm going to make this into a 4-sided, so don't worry about it. Grab this, border edges, grab the open edge, and cap it. What I'm going to do here is grab those two, connect once. Just make sure it's set to once, not default to 2. And bring this back up again. So you're going to bring this, this, this all the way to the top here. Connect. Same goes back here again. Just grab all the way. I don't want the detail to go all the way through, but I can afford for it to go to the back of their head. We just need to get the detail to go to the ear. But we don't want to have triangles, so just target weld this over there, there. I'm going to target weld this there, or we can actually bring this detail all the way through. It's up to us, but I'm going to just for now target weld it there. Okay, so we have quads all the way through and a quad over there. We just need to move this slightly in so we can actually get this, and I want to bring this up here as well so we can get the bottom of the jaw going. Just remember, you need to shift things in. The more detail you add in, the more you have to shift around. Just see if it's looking fine, smoothen. That's looking okay. It's just going to cause a bit of issues if this is this far down. So just start shifting, go back. If you need to, just go into one view, and if it makes you feel comfortable, and start adjusting it. There, and start adjusting it. Start adjusting it. This needs to come in a little bit. This needs to go out a little bit, and just start shaping it all around. Okay, just see if everything's running smoothly. Okay, and just make sure that this jawline is actually following nicely. And then see how it looks when you smoothen it. It's actually quite nice. It's not doing anything funky. Even the triangle's not causing issues, which is now quad. Okay, let's move this a little bit back. And now we can start closing off that. Once again, grab that and grab the back one. What I like to do in this case is bring it out there. Let's slightly bring it lower, create that part of the neck, and then bring it. Let's just check what's going on. What we need to do is actually just bring this part forward. Okay. And once again, we need to bring the detail back down this side. So just remember, we can target weld that there. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We don't need that much detail, really, ever on the back of the neck. So don't stress too much about it. Okay. Or the side, you can add more rove detail. It's up to you, but I mean, for now, leave it. What I like to do is also grab this now and go and hold shift so we can start shaping it. Turn on your end show end result. Try to get this round. Don't worry about this. This is not, you're not going to get this 100% because you still need to attach it to your actual mesh. Okay. Remember that this is the muscle that runs into the head, then there's another muscle that runs to the front of the head here. So it'll be this one and that one. Those are the two crucial ones to have when you start skinning your character. You'll hear painting weights. What that means is if I put a bone in this body to control the head, there will be one bone for the head, generally one for the neck, or two, depending how much detail you need. And you have to tell each bone what vert it controls. So if you've modeled this correctly, it won't be an issue in the long run to actually skin it. And that's why I say make sure your topology is running correctly. Once again, another row of detail, and then I'm just going to target weld. This to there. Start shaping it again a little bit better. And this one I need to shape out a little bit more. I'm going to hide everything else but the head mesh and just start shaping. And just shape a little bit better. Just start moving the verts around a little bit. Just make sure smooth wise it looks fine. And that for the neck will be it. Just remember, a lot of people seem to be getting confused what they'll be doing in ZBrush and Mudbox. In Max, you will build, let's say you're building the pants for the character. You will build the pants very basic. Don't worry about creases, don't worry about wrinkles. All you have to worry about if there's belt buckles attached to it or coming out of it, you have to model those. Creases and seams will be done in ZBrush. The rest will be a cylinder roughly shaped to the leg down. You will be detailing the wrinkles and creases and everything else in Mudbox or ZBrush. So don't spend hours trying to create creases. The same as goes for muscles. Don't spend hours trying to create muscles when you're going to be sculpting them in ZBrush or Mudbox, depending which one you go with. Let's create the lips. Double click on it. Hold scale. Scale it in. Make sure the middle meets. So just shift it over until the symmetry works. And then start shaping the mouth properly again. Bring it into the corner. Start shaping it out. Bring it down. Just keep shaping it until you get the mouth looking like a mouth. Bring it up. And because I have less detail on the bottom, I just try to space it evenly between the two. There we go. And just this one can be over there. So we can custom. Don't worry about totally closing it off. Now you need to make sure in left viewport and all the other views that it's not broken. This is not properly. You can't have that far forward. It'll just create some very weird, interesting patterns and shapes and distort it beautifully. Bring it down. Try to close this gap off as best as you can, but you don't want it to be totally closed off. Don't forget, once again, left viewport. Run through every single viewport until you're happy and you've got it done. Move it back. Back. Top needs to move back as well. Back. And then go to your perspective viewport and always keep an eye on everything, that nothing's breaking or collapsing in itself or doing anything funky. Okay, and then turn your smooth on for the final check. Move it back. I'm not going to make a mouth pocket. What that means is I'm not going to create the entire inside of the mouth. I'm just going to create enough that the subsurface scattering. What subsurface scattering is if you put a torch in a dark room onto your hand, the red that bleeds through is the light bouncing through around the bone. Okay, that's subsurface scattering. That's what creates the difference between wax, skin shader, and that's what you're going to end up using. So I just want to give it enough detail to work with when I do the skin shader. So I'm just going to give the lips some thickness. Please don't make a common mistake. Your lips are not as thin as you think or as paper thin. Just move it a little bit forward. Doesn't have to be exactly 100% there. Just start shaping it. I'm creating the inside of the lip, and then I'm going to create the spot. So grab the entire edge loop again, double click, scale just in one direction, start shaping it again. You're just creating extra faces, and then start shaping it. And now I'm working inside the head. Move these over, shift them over, just start shaping it. Doesn't have to be once again accurate, because it's the inside of the mouth. Just go to the end of the gums and you'll be fine. If you want to create a mouth, go for it. I'll show you how to create, but I'm not going to run through making lips, because I'm not going to make my character smile or do anything. He's just going to be simple, straightforward expression. The exercise is show of texturing. Okay, and modeling, and that's about it. Just start bringing it down a little more. The gap is getting too big of yes, just start closing it off slightly. Not too much, because what I'm going to do is bring this into Mudbox with the mouth slightly open, so I can detail it a little bit easier. Okay, now we're getting the mouth filling in. It's not looking too bad. I think I need more detail running along the actual lip. So click on it and go ring, connect once, go to your left viewport. It's a lot easier just to shift this in the left viewport. Because we add more detail, things need to start moving back again. Just start shifting them again. Always shift it, because the more detail means you need to shift a lot more stuff around. So just start shifting it around. Go back to the left view, see what the middle of the lip's doing. Bring it slightly forward. Same here, bring it slightly forward. Bring all of it slightly back. Forward. Final check, perspective, look around. See if anything looks too flat or looks a little bit out of place. Just start shifting it. Okay. To me that looks a bit too far forward, so just start shifting these things back a little bit. And in a little bit. I like to have things slightly softer, so I won't, even if the lips are more pronounced, I will do all of that in Mudbox or ZBrush. I'm going to be doing a lot of it in ZBrush because I'll be working between home and here, and I won't be able to unfortunately do all of it here. Not when it comes to the ZBrush work. Just start seeing if make things a little bit softer. Just slightly softer. As you can see, I added an extra row of detail for the nose. Okay, that is about it for now for the lips. You don't need any more to that for the lips. Let's go finish off the nose. Once again, I'd like to start off with the extreme. So grab that corner and move. What I will definitely do is go and say bridge. Just start bridging across. And then you'll realize, okay, we need to cut this in half to be able to connect that. So we need to cut this in half, connect once, and then start bridging again. Grab the corresponding opposite faces and bridge. Go to your left side and you'll realize your nose is broken. So just go and fix it again. Just go and grab those. What I like to do for this, we might end up having to add more detail, but try to get the nostril position is more important right now than actually the nose shape. Okay, so just go and place where the nostril will be. And just start shaping around. As you can see, I've given myself enough detail at the bottom here, so we'll use that to our advantage. Just start shape. Okay. Now we need to add one more row of detail, so let's go do that. Don't be afraid to add detail when it's necessary. Don't go crazy. Okay. We need to add one more row there and one row up there, so let's go connect once. Don't worry about the 5 points it creates. We're trying to close that gap, so target weld. To close the gap. If that doesn't work, no, there we go, it does. We need to add one more row of detail there, so go and grab there. Or we can do it the opposite and put the detail up here, whatever works. In this case, I'd rather put it up there. The problem is now we've got a 5 and a 5 points side there. The easy way to fix that is to just target weld them to the middle. Now you've got a quad and still the detail on the side. Okay, now we need to start shaping this nose a little bit better so it actually looks like a nose. Just literally start moving the points around. Look in every angle and say, okay, that's starting to look like a nose. From the side it looks terrible, but let's work with it. Look always in every single view. 3D is not about one perspective, it's 3D. Okay. And just keep an eye and see if everything. Your nose will not be 100% beautiful because all you need to do is get the shapes going and looking good. The rest you will finish off in Mudbox. I like to keep it as neutral and as soft as possible. I've got something floating in there. Let's just clean that up. Let's just make sure the nose is looking decent again. Turn on smooth. This needs to go a little bit more forward so we can actually get that nose. Now let's get these things to creep back a little bit. Because the top one's creeping back nicely, but the top one isn't, and we just need to create a little bit of a lip on the back of the nose. And now we can just bring this back again, and maybe that will make it look a little bit better. Don't worry too much about adding that perfect detail at the back there, because you will be doing that in, once again, Mudbox or ZBrush, depending which way you're going to do it. How the detail comes back into Max is through a displacement map. Whether it's a vector, the vector displacement, it'll come back vector or normal displacement or normal map, but it will come back into Max. And now the easiest part of it all, the nostril. Bevel, let's just creep it in. Make sure it's set to local normal and not group. In this case, not much of a difference, but you never know, it might actually cause issues. Go to the front viewport, and you can see we need to shape it a little bit better, so that's exactly what we're going to do. So leave it there, we've created it. We might as well start grabbing these outer edges and start shaping them. Go back to your perspective viewport and start shifting them around. There. See what it looks like smoothened. Not too bad. Generally it's a lot thinner on the point, but let's go and actually extrude it. Now to create the hole is actually easy. Extrude, go into the front viewport, push it up into the head. I'm not going to go make it beautifully accurate, just make it so when you texture it, or in this case when I'm going to texture it, it's just going to be textured black, so no matter which way you look at it, no one's ever going to navigate straight into the nose. Hopefully. And then just start shifting it, making it a little bit more round. Just give it a little bit more detail. It doesn't have to be great, but try to avoid making it look like a block. And bring it over. That'll be fine. Okay. Now once again, it needs to be a lot thinner there. So grab these points here and shift. Start shaping it. This is collapsing too much in itself, so what I'm going to do is just slowly bring this forward. All of this, and as you can see there's a funny shape happening. Just start fixing it. So shift this along and start creating the shape a little bit better. Start smoothing it out a little bit better. That's looking better, and start moving it forward. No matter what you do, the more detail you add means you're going to be cleaning up a lot more mess. Just start moving it forward. shift it along, and then shift it along just slightly. What I might do is just bring these up a little bit so it creates that little funny kink to his nose, and also these ones a little bit raised more. And then for now that will be perfect to go into ZBrush. What I might do is say, okay, the ear is there, that's where I'm attaching the ear, done. Okay, and then you are done to actually go into Mudbox, because if you go too much detail it means that you need to displace a lot more, so just keep it simple. What I would like to do after this is, I think I've gone too much with too heavy detail, so what I'll do is I'll put a relax in it generally, even if it's a subtle relax. What it does is, you can see it just softens everything slightly out. So it gives me more room to breathe when I'm going to Mudbox with sculpting and moving things around. If you've played around with Sculptris, it's the same thing. Sculptris is the baby version. ZBrush is the more fleshed out version. Okay, let's start with the ear. I like to keep everything separate because even Max ZBrush, any 3D software or any software will crash on you. Please don't have the excuse that, oh, my computer crashed so I couldn't do it. Because in the reality and the grand scheme of things, you can't do that in the real world. If it crashes, that means you're putting extra hours in to get the job done. I'm going to start off by following this part over here all the way around back to the beginning, and then we're going to add in that row of detail, that row of detail. If you want to be really simple, you keep it very simple because you can do all of this in Mudbox. But I like to have at least something fleshed out. So I'll just start following the shape. Go to the perspective, front view, and start shifting it in. Just move them out, start placing them. Make your life a little bit easier. Put a turbo smooth just to see what it looks like. What Isoline does, and what I like to do, is I don't need to see what the final mesh is going to look like. I just need to see what the final smoothing result is going to be like. And if you turn on Isoline, it gives you the low poly wireframe with the smoothed result, which is what you want. Please don't by mistake collapse your turbo smooth, because then you will hate yourself, because then you have to work with a mesh that is so high and you have to move a crap load of verts around, and that's just going to not be worth it. It's probably easier just to start from scratch or start minimizing. Just start shaping it. There we go. Move it along. Once again, hold shift. What I'm going to do here is I'm creating a line for this and a line for that detail. The same as over there, a line for this detail and that detail. Just keep going through. Just go to the front viewport, shift it along, move those along, go back to your left viewport, and just keep going. And then we need another row of detail for over there, and that's exactly what we're doing. And just rotate, place, go to your left viewport, slightly go. Hold shift. Now I need to create a line for there and for there. So you do that again. Go down there. What I might do in this case is add another row of detail here just to get this curve looking better. Just go to the front view, shift it over, go to the left view, hold shift and create another row, and just keep moving, shifting, placing. It's a lot of massaging. It's just to make it look better. Keep going again. Once again, need another row of detail for this to connect to. Just go to the front viewport, adjust it, left viewport, keep going. Front viewport, slightly adjust it, and then go to the lobe, and then you'll get eventually you will get the hang of where everything runs. The ears topology is not the most crucial topology in the world. The hard part about doing the ear is connecting it to something, and connecting it to the head might be very difficult. So what you try to do is try to keep the amount of detail minimal. And then go there. I'm just trying to keep the topology running nicer. So then at least when it goes into the head, it will at least be a lot smoother. Now we're going to create the lobe. So that will be lower than the top. And then just start bringing this to there. There. Start just shifting these points in a little bit better. Just make sure that these are running, and they're not running beautifully, so just keep placing them. And up. And then go into your left viewport. Just make sure you shift all of these until they're actually working nicely. Grab another edge, the end of the lobe, and then start shifting it around. You can shift around with edges, verts. I like verts, gives me more control. You can do it with edges. It's up to you. Grab those two over there and then bring them closer to the head. Should be fine there. Once again, don't be 100% accurate because you're going to be connecting it to your head and you're going to have to figure out where it connects. I want to bridge this across. Okay. So I'm going to have to add in another row of detail here because it's just too simple. So I'm just going to add one row of detail so I can actually start getting this little overhang. And just keep going. Bring this out a little bit. Go to your left viewport. And now we're going to start bridging that and creating the inner edges. The best way to do this for me is I like to grab literally the whole open edge. Everything on the inside minus that little corner piece. Just deselect that one, hold shift and bring it in. So we can create it, give it some thickness. Don't worry about all that detail that you can add in. Just start getting the shapes running in. This is thicker, yeah, and it starts thinning out, getting a little bit thinner there. So just start making it a little bit thicker. Once again, thicker. Starts thinning out towards the base, and the rest seems fine. Just remember that, yeah, there's not so much of an overhang, so start spacing these a little bit better. Once again, grab that one again. Just space it. Go to your left viewport, space it out. So then it will be nice and hard, and then slowly, gradually fades off on the bottom and the top. Okay. Just play around with it, see what it does. The same over here, just soften this out. You have more detail to work with if you just start softening it out. There we go. And then just start following the ear part. There we go. Okay. There we go. It's coming along nicely. Now we just start closing it off. Because we modeled it specifically, I want to bridge across this gap here. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to grab there, there, and bridge. The problem is we need to add a row of detail there to connect it to there and to the bottom over here. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go connect once, shift it along to about over there. Make sure it actually looks decent in the front viewport. It's actually not too bad, surprisingly. Okay, now start closing it off. Grab this, go to your left view, and make sure it's closed off decently. What I would like to do, if I could, is maybe add another row of detail there, just to get that nice little shape, but that's really not the end of the world right now. So let's go, we can always add more detail. Once again, go bridge, border, cap it. Now you need to go bridge again, so now we're going to go here and go bridge. Bridge. The problem here is now we got more detail than that has. So I'm going to just double click on here and say chamfer. Space it a little bit. And then go shape this quickly, so it just makes life easier. Just going to start shaping it so we can get this to go into there. Once again, the same with this edge over here, we need more detail, so go chamfer. Shape it again just to make life a little bit easier. And now you can go bridge it. Grab that one in the middle, that one, bridge, same over there, bridge, same over there, bridge. Okay, and then you can cap that off, so grab your border tool, cap it, and this one I'm going to cap and then just connect as we go. Okay, we got a quad there, and then we'll have the other quad there, so we can just go and say grab that vert, and click connect. We've got a quad there and a quad there. Okay, what I'm going to do here is just slowly bring this in and see what we're actually getting going on here. This might be creating a funny smooth, and it is because there's no detail down the middle. So what we might do in this case is just add more detail. Okay, or what I'm going to do now is just delete that. Yeah, let me just delete these faces in the middle here, and I'm just going to create a triangle and then I'll get rid of it. I'm going to grab this one here, bridge straight across there, because that will give me better results than what I'm currently trying to do. And then close off there. Okay. And if I really want to, I can bring in all this detail in there nicely. Even if it creates a triangle, at least it'll work better. Now I'm going to create the hole in the ear. So grab your poly. In this case, I'm just going to grab there and then extrude. It makes no difference which direction you extrude it in, because you can manually go and place it, scale it down, shape it. I'm going to shape it a little better. And then smoothen it just to see what it's doing. I will definitely have to add a row of detail just to give it more shape. And just slowly place it. Once again, not trying to be accurate and straight going into the head, because we're not here forever. Grab this over here. Grab that one there, and then I'm just going to create a triangle. Connect once. And then I'm going to connect there. I can always get rid of the triangle, but let's keep it for now. Connect once, and then we can start shaping this again. Go to your left viewport, turn the smooth on. Let's make this less blocky. Just start smoothing it out a little bit. And start, literally the key is just to make it look a little bit softer. Okay, and then see what else we have working there, and then do the same thing in the backyard. Work from the inside of the mesh, it's fine. Okay, and let's just connect that to make it a triangle again. Not the end of the world, especially if it's hidden in there. Okay, and there we go. Let's start getting out the rest of the shapes, and then this is going too far already with the ear, but let's keep going. What I like to do is I can't see through anything through this, so I just like to shift it over, especially for when I'm starting to do this kind of detail. Grab that point, grab that one, that's what we're pushing in. Don't worry about the overhang, please. You can sculpt that, or I will run through it now, but you can sculpt it. I'm going to bevel and extrude them by local normal. Okay, but first we need to bevel and extrude, not extrude. Local normal, push it into the head, bevel it so we can soften it out a bit. We just need the detail there, and maybe make it less prominent. And then we just turn on the smooth and see what it looks like. And then go and shape it properly. Okay, once again, it's a lot thinner here. You can add in more detail to need it. I just like to have the bare minimum detail so I can actually have something to work with rather than nothing. Soften it out. Just start softening everything out. Okay, and that for me is, let's see what it looks like in 3D. Maybe this can come out a little bit. Enough. Okay, let's go and actually create an extra. Let's close it off, and if we need to, we can add extra overhang detail. Now we're going to connect it to the ear. We don't need any more detail in the front. Just double click, deselect that, and go. I'm going to stop it over there. Hold Shift, create a new edge, because now we're going to create the back end of the ear and how it connects to the head. Back end is a little bit thicker than the front, so just scale it down a little bit. Shift it to the front, because you want it to connect, but don't make it as perfectly pinched as some ears are. Just rather leave it. There we go. And shift it over slightly. Rather have more, because you can always get rid of it. Once again, scale it down, holding Shift to create extra faces. And now what we need to do is bring this closer to there where it connects, and that closer to there where it connects. Easiest way to do this without losing the shape we've just created is grab that, and where it says Edit Geometry, turn it to Edge. What that does is it moves that vert between those 2 points along that edge. As you can see, I don't have to worry about anything else but just moving it up. Same over here, just move it straight to the, in this case, straight that way, just down. I'm just going to slightly shift these all over, because unfortunately we're going to have to make them into triangles or other, because you're not going to have that much detail to connect to it. You don't ever want to connect that much detail. Don't forget to turn off back to none, just in case, because you don't want to by mistake move it only along every edge all the time. And just shift these over, because these are going to connect to the head. And the same with that end over there, just slightly shift this up and forward. And that will be not much else to the back of that ear. It's going to connect to the head, and then you can do the rest of it in Mudbox, ZBrush, whatever you want to call it, whatever you use. They're all the same. Sculptress you can. I'm going to add more detail to this. I'm going to just ring this. Because I made my edge loops properly, we're going to get some undesired results, especially along these edges over here. But we're going to connect anyway, and we can fix them, as you can see. We don't want that. It really looks ugly. Okay, so we'll just repair that. So I'm going to connect it once just because we need that detail. So I'm going to go connect. Let's go fix this. Easiest way to fix this is to go and grab the corresponding points. Go and say there and there. Connect once. Same on that one. Connect. And then we're going to actually literally go and delete these and rebuild them. No. Let's try two methods. I'll show you two methods. Connect that one. Connect, and then you just target weld those to there, and then you can get rid of the triangle. So you grab those, and those. Control backspace. Please don't just do backspace. It'll leave the verts there, and then you'll get angry with yourself. Okay. The other way to do it is literally get rid of all these, and then literally rebuild it. Do it, cap it. Now you just need to connect points. So you connect one, connect. The problem with that is now this needs to be connected as well. Otherwise, it's gonna. You can see it smooths weird. It's nice edge and then nothing because there's no detail there for it to be able to smooth it. So the other way to do it is grab that there and connect between those two. Just target weld that to the middle. Grab that one and connect. And there we go. Okay. And let's go and actually add some more detail. Now we're going to push this detail up. So I'm going to grab that, there, shift it underneath. So we can get the overhang. You can already see that it's... Don't go too extreme with the overhang. Please. Once again, rather keep it a little bit more relaxed. You can always shift them along, once again, in ZBrush or Mudbox. Thank God you don't have to do cloth anymore in Max because that would have taken you so long. Just shift it in, slightly over, soften it out. You can see now it's creating a nice little overhang. So just start shifting it out. If you want to do it to the smooth on, you can. See what it's doing. Let's carry it on over here. I like to grab a few at a time. Don't go too crazy and grab all of them because they need to go in a specific direction. Turn the smooth on. Let's see what it looks like. And then just bring it in slightly. It doesn't have to be crazy. Just enough to give you the idea that it's actually indented. Once again, grab those and those. Bring them down and over. These, it starts softening out over here, so that's what you technically need to do. You start softening it out. So what I'm going to do here is reduce the amount that it's doing it over here and bring it over. This needs to go quite in because it's actually near the hole, so we need to bring this down. And the same goes over there. Just bring those over. Okay, and that should be fine for what you need. Just remember to soften this out. So, for example, over there, go to your left viewport. You can also soften this out because you don't need all that detail sitting on that corner for no reason. Same over there. Soften it out. Soften it out. Just start softening all of it out because it's going to create some real interesting pinching. Did you see the issue that we had over here? It looks like there's oh no, it's not. It's just a glitch. Awesome. Bring it over. Make sure you bring everything over. Start spacing them out. Don't need the detail. Once again, just be sitting right on top of each other. It will create weird pinching, especially in the smooth level. You might not see it now, but the moment you start smoothing, it will. Turbo Smooth is awesome, but also bad because you have to take it into consideration. Okay. There we go. And that will be perfectly fine for ZBrush. Then what I like to do as well is add a bit of a relax because I generally model too rigid. So I add a relax into it, REL on your modify tab. What it does is it just softens everything out a little bit. Okay. I don't put it at 0.5, I put it about 0.2, 0.3, whatever it needs, and then please always make sure you're modeling. In this case, I started with the same scene file, so I know my ear is perfectly where it should be according to my reference, and I know the pivot's perfectly centered. So all I have to do is do a symmetry, flip it in the right direction, make sure it's in the Z, and there's both of my ears. Okay, but I don't need to do a symmetry now, I'll do it when it gets into the file. Okay, there we go. And that you'll bring into Max, dissect your mesh, your head mesh until this can fit into it.